I am so excited because we just got the car to explore Florida. We're gonna take this car for 4 weeks and we're gonna drive around the state. And in this video, I will tell you all about renting a car, what are the best tips, what you shouldn't do as well. But let's get into the car and start our trip. This is probably the most important or simple tip I can give you about driving a car in Florida. Check out the weather forecast, because if there is a hurricane like there was one here in Fort Myers, look for a safe place where you can sleep and put your car. And if you're not aware of any good place, just call back the rental company, because they're gonna help you in finding a good spot to leave your car. And what about the road infrastructure and the local driving? Well, I tell you, the road infrastructure is fantastic here in the US. I must say that most of the main roads are 2, 3 or even more lanes, plenty of space. And even when you have one lane, you have again lots of space. It's not just a tiny lane. Even if you go into the cities, usually the streets are pretty wide, especially if you compare them to Europe, where sometimes you feel a little bit cramped, isn't it? And what about the local driving? I talked already about the local driving into my speed limit section. And I mentioned that some of the drivers actually exceed the speed limits, and that's something that you should not copy, because there could be a sheriff or police next corner. Besides the speed limits, I find that most of the people in Florida drive very smoothly. I haven't got any trouble at all, even in parking together with other cars. It's all very wide and very easy going. But let me show you a little bit more of the Florida keys. Speed limits in Florida, you will find all kinds of speed limits. This one here, for example, I am in Naples, beautiful Naples. You should check actually my videos on Naples and the best places to see in Florida. Now, getting back, 25 miles per hour in every street here in Naples, so it's around probably 40 per hour. On the highways, usually you can go up to 70 miles per hour, 75, which is around 105, 110 per hour. Now, don't be surprised if you will have plenty of locals that actually overtake you going over the limit. But please don't do it, because if there is a police or sheriff just hidden behind the palm tree, then you are in trouble and you get a ticket. Here in an unusual cold morning in Panama City Beach in the northwest coast of Florida, and I just wanted to spend a couple of words about the traffic light that in Florida and US you see on the top, as you can see here on my background. That's very different from what you expect in Europe or in Australia, where they are usually on the side. In Australia we have plenty of them, just before, just after. Here you have only one, so when you approach a traffic light, just pay attention to the top, very easy going. But I want to show you a little bit more of Panama City Beach. I usually rent my cars from an aggregator website, and what it does, they compare basically all of the rentals, either international brands or local brands, providing the best price that you can have for your rental period. And what I love the most of this aggregator is that you can see the rating of the users of all of these rental companies. So you can understand if they do provide, a good service or a cheap service. So check the price, yes, but check also the rental company rating and make your math. It's better to spend sometimes a couple of dollars more but you get good service instead of spending the cheapest absolutely price, but then also you get very bad service. And most importantly, add the full insurance, because you don't want to be charged when you return the car for a couple of scratches, maybe $200-300 or even more. And this aggregator website gives you the possibility to add the full insurance for just $7 a day, which is a bargain. And if you're wondering where I am at the moment, I am in the beautiful Naples Island at the starting. What about the petrol station? Well, they are literally everywhere, so you won't have a problem finding one in Florida. Price is very similar to Australia, but it's half of what you pay usually in Europe, so it's a good bargain, I would say, especially consider the cost of living, generally speaking, in USA. It's actually worth looking at the gas station on Google Maps, because they also provide the cost per gallon that petrol station gives, so you can bargain between the many gas stations around. And it's well worth actually bargaining, because you can save up to 20%. And here is the pump. What you have to do, obviously, you have to add your credit card or your debit card. You insert it here, you're going to authorize it, and once it's authorized, you can take the pump, select what kind of petrol you want, regular, plus or V-Power, and you just put it into your car. As easy as that. I am entering here in Siesta Key Beach, rated as the top best beach in USA. Absolutely beautiful. I've been spending here 4 or 5 days now. I enjoy it so much. You should check out the videos I've made actually on Siesta Keys. I just want to spend a couple of more words about the driving license. So you're allowed to drive here with any license that is written in Latin letters. So if you have a European license or if you have an Australian license, it's no problem at all. If you have a driving license, for example, written in Chinese, then you need to have an international license. Another important thing to mention is that in US they drive on the right side. So if you're used to the left side, like I do from Australia, just take a couple of days, follow the flow, pay more attention than usual, and after that probably you will get used to the other side too. But now I'm going to leave you with some footage from Siesta Key with the beach, which was voted as #1 in the US. If you're not used to the US traffic system, you should know that you can actually turn right on a red traffic light, like here. The important thing is that you stop and you check if there is incoming traffic from either left or right, and you make sure there are no pedestrian crossing as well, and then you can safely turn right. Just be aware that sometimes there is a clear sign saying that you can't turn right on a red light. In that case, you have to treat the traffic light just as a normal red light. And now just a couple of simple things that I want to remind. When you drive, you can't use your telephone. That's pretty much common in all over the world nowadays. And then you have to use also the seat belts, the front and the back too. If you are driving with a kid that is older than 8 years old, then it can stay also on the front. 8 years old or younger has to go on the back. 5 years old or younger, they have to use either a booster seat or a child seat based on the weight and also on the age. All of these informations are into my guide, and you can see the link into the video description, of course. So a couple of words about parking in Florida. You can park outside, inside, in a multi-level garage like this one. If you go to an event like I'm doing now, I'm going to an NBA match, I highly suggest to pre-book your garage space. Parking, especially when you are inside the multi-level garage, very good actually, because they always leave a space to open the doors, so you're not going to damage your car. In saying that, I always suggest to rent the car fully insured, because it's quite easy to scratch it, and for a couple of scratches we may charge you a couple of $100. Now I'll show you a little bit more of Orlando, which I'm gonna go for a walk now, and then the stadium too. takes me to another subject, that is the traffic. Usually you find it in the major cities like Miami, Orlando, Miami Beach of course, and also on the way in and out from the Florida Keys you may find some traffic, especially late in the evening when you leave the Florida Keys. But besides that, I found Florida very easy going, roads are pretty big, so no worries at all. When you ride on the main road of Florida, you find some rest areas where you can stop, have a rest. There are toilets which are super clean, they don't cost anything. Vending machines where you can buy some food and drinks. And you have also some tables to have a picnic. So really, everything you need to have a little bit of a rest on your drive. And what about the petty crime? Well, personally, I haven't experienced any trouble at all here in Florida. I haven't seen any in the streets, but this doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. So my personal suggestion here is to never leave a bag or anything of a value like a mobile or a camera when the car is not attended. If you have to leave a bag, put it in the back of the car where it's not visible, and try to park the car in a place where there are lots of people, because usually they don't break in the cars when there is a CCTV or there are lots of people around. And what about the comparison with public transportation? Well, let me tell you that you will be able to reach most of the major sites, beaches, islands, and of course cities with public transportation. What you will miss, of course, is flexibility, and timing will be much longer because you have to go to the train station, to the bus station, so it's going to take a long time. So you have to budget in at least 1-2 days more for each place you want to go. If you plan to visit a lot of Florida and your time is a constraint, I highly suggest to rent a car, because you will be so much more flexible and you will be able to stop in places like this one, like Bahia Key here in the Florida Keys, where public transportation doesn't arrive. And cost-wise, you'll be surprised that probably it's cheaper than going with public transportation, especially if you are in 3 or more people. Definitely it's going to be a cheaper experience. So overall, renting a car is highly suggested if you want to experience the most of Florida. And that's pretty much it with this video on renting and driving a car in Florida. I hope you enjoyed this video and I trust you really like it, and subscribe to the channel. But look what I have for you next week.